What is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline. As always, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and drop a like on this video if you enjoyed this video. As you can see, guys, today I have the WandaVision Scarlet Witch 1/6 scale figure by Hot Toys. I really enjoyed this show, so I was very excited to check out this figure when it was first announced. Obviously, it's been a while since this was first announced. This one took a while to release, but it's finally here, and I can't wait to take a look at this with you guys. But real quick, I'm going to give you a quick tour around the outer packaging. Then, of course, we're going to take out those clamshells and take a look at everything that's inside. But quickly, guys, I want to show you. This is a bit reflective. Sorry if it's a little reflective on camera, but I love these colors. It goes along with that theme from the WandaVision show, if you guys have seen the show. A beautiful portrait here of Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff, on the front. If we move it around to the side, guys, you can see there's a Scarlet Witch kind of logo embossed on the side. Very cool. A little bit of a dent in my box. Moving around to the back, if you guys like to read credits, there they are. You can pause that and read that for yourself. And then moving around to the side here, we again have that Scarlet Witch branding on there. But now, guys, let's get rid of this outer box and take a closer look at everything that comes inside the box. Alright, much better. So now, guys, you can see everything here. This is how it arrives to you, when it is shipped to you. Of course, I took all of the plastic off for the purpose of this video. Now, let me take all of the accessories and the figure out of the box, and let's take a closer look at all of the details. Alright, guys, here we are now in the light box with all of the accessories pulled out of the box. So let's take a closer look at each one of them. First, I want to start with the display stand, guys. I really do dig this display stand. I think it looks really good. I love that reflective quality that the tiara and these lines here have. I think that looks really good, and you can kind of see that captured in the light here in the light box. And of course, it says WandaVision, being that this is from the WandaVision show on Disney+. And then I do like that the nameplate also says Scarlet Witch. I think that's really cool. Of course, I always say, guys, I would much prefer a metal nameplate, but that is what we got, so we got to take what we can get with Marvel. So really cool, really dig this display base. I think it's awesome. And of course, to go along with that, guys, we do have our flight pole as well as our waist grabber. As I always say, guys, be very careful with these. There isn't enough foam here, and these little plastic ends tend to dig into the suit, so be very careful using these. I typically recommend either don't use these at all or foam pad them a little bit more so you know they're not digging into the suits on your figures, because that will destroy the suit on a lot of figures. So be very careful with these. Hey, why is this in here? Anyways, next, moving on, guys, we do have this beautiful cloak. And the printing on this, guys, just doesn't do it justice on video. It's absolutely beautiful. The detail is pretty amazing in person. When we open it up on the inside, it's got this nice, like, red velvety material. You could see here, this is the shoulder piece, and this is where it clips onto Wanda, and we'll see that later in the video. Of course, this has a hood as well, but the hood is not wired. I just wanted to let you guys know that. Flipping around to the back, we have that same really beautiful triangular design, and I think this looks really, really good. And I have not put this on the figure yet, of course, so I cannot wait to see this on the figure. Alright, next, guys, we do have some flame magic effects for her hands. These look really, really cool. I love this like red, pinkish, translucent plastic. I love how the color changes from the bottom going to the top. Very slightly, but it's more noticeable in person. I think this is really, really cool, and I think these are really nicely detailed, and I can't wait to check these out on the figure as well. Next, of course, guys, we have the hands. Going along with those magic effects, I want to grab these hands because these are very unique to this figure. You can see, to show that she's casting a magic effect, you pair this with those effects, you have some translucent red hands. And I love that they have all those little details, and as you can see, we'll get a little bit closer, all those little details sculpted into the hand, yet they are a different translucent red plastic. I think that's really neat. I love the paint work on it, how it fades to black towards the bottom. Really, really cool. And this is my first Wanda figure, so this is my first experience with these type of hands, and I think this is awesome, so I can't wait to check these out on the figure. Next, for the hands, the other two hands we have, of course, are not the translucent hands. Again, same great sculpting detail. If we get a bit closer up, you can see that kind of woven material there. Really nicely done, as always, from Hot Toys. I think these look really good. I wish we get more hands, as I always say. There's not enough hands, but it's cool that we get both these and those translucent hands to give us different options. And last but certainly not least, guys, we do have our Darkhold. And as I flip through the pages here, you can see there's a lot of different stuff going on in here. Very, very nicely done. Very small, detailed pages here, so it's really cool that they went all out with this. If we close it up and look on the detail on the outside, It looks really, really menacing. Obviously, you guys know if you've seen WandaVision what this was for. And of course, Multiverse of Madness going into that film as well. Really, really nicely done. I love that they included this. But that's all we got for the accessories, guys. Without further ado, let me grab Wanda and we'll take a closer look at the figure and see what we think of it. Alright guys, now here I have the Scarlet Witch from WandaVision in my hand. First impressions on the head sculpt are very good, guys. I think it looks pretty solid. Is it 100% Elizabeth Olsen? I wouldn't say it's 100%, but overall I think it's a very good likeness. And you see if you turn it from the left to right, you definitely see Elizabeth Olsen in this head sculpt. Overall, I'm very pleased with it. In person, it comes off a little bit more, but there's some red eyeshadow around her eyes, and I think that looks really good, and overall, I think it's very well painted, and I think they did a great job. Moving it around to the back, I know a lot of people were asking about the hair. You could see as I'm slowly moving it here, I think the hair looks really good. You could argue that maybe it's a little bit chunkier than Hot Toys typically does, but overall, I think it's the style of hair that this character has. She has a head of hair with a lot of volume, so I think Hot Toys did a good job at portraying that here. And I think this looks absolutely beautiful. I think they did a great job on the hair overall. It is that flexible plastic, but it is a bit stiffer only because it's all one piece like that. It's got a lot of volume to it, like I said, so because of that, it does make it a bit stiff in the back. But as I always like to do, guys, to give you a different look and different lighting on the head sculpt, let me adjust the lighting down to a more yellow light here so you can see the head sculpt in a different light. So you can see there, guys, let me make it a little bit brighter. You can see there, guys, this is what this is looking like in a more yellow light versus a white light. And I'll move it around to the back as well so you can see the hair. And again, I think it looks really good overall. I think they did a great job on the head sculpt. Is it perfect? Elizabeth Olsen 100%? No. But I think they did a great job. But alright guys, let me adjust the camera a little bit and change the lighting once again. And I will be right back and we'll take a look at the figure in its entirety. Alright guys, now the big topic of conversation with this figure is of course these exposed shoulder joints here. You can see they're fairly obvious from both the front and the side. Of course later in the video, towards the end, we're going to take a look at what that cape looks like because I've been told it definitely hides those joints very well. As it stands, there are a lot of people wanting to do a Fison silicone body swap on this just to make those shoulders seamless. And I totally get that. Makes a lot of sense. Me personally, I'm going to display her with the cloak. That was my original intention. So I probably will be okay with just having the cloak on. I guess towards the end of this video, we'll all find out together. However, I just wanted to point that out. That is kind of the elephant in the room. These are very obvious on this figure. Moving down though, guys, I want to say kudos to Hot Toys on the outfit. This outfit is absolutely gorgeous in person. This is mostly a cloth outfit with just a printed design on it. So that's very good to see, especially when you're posing these shoulder joints here. This is cloth, so that will definitely help you with your posing and your longevity over time. Moving around, guys, you can see that kind of dark maroon mixed with black here. It looks really, really beautiful. This is such a beautiful costume design that they had in WandaVision, and I think it translates very well to this figure. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. You do have some wiring here in the lower part of this dress that she's wearing, which I think is a very nice touch, and of course we always like wiring so we can kind of pose it how we want it. And again, if we look closely, there's some really great printed detail on there. Of course, guys, moving around to the front, I will show you. Installed on the figure, we do have some open, relaxed hands. Of course, I showed you all of the other hands included, but that is what is pre-installed. We have a really cool belt buckle here with this kind of shroud around the belt area. I think this looks great. Again, the details on this suit are really, really nice. Moving down to the pants, again, we have cloth with a printed design on it. I think this is going to be plenty posable. We'll find out in the posing segment of the video. And then moving down to the boots, again, same great design work. I think Hot Toys did a great job on this. This looks really, really nice. We do have a split cut boot design down here, which I know a lot of people are going to be excited about. And then if we take a look at the tread, not much tread to be seen on here. 2023 Hot Toys Limited is what we're greeted with. But I have been told by some people that these are a lot flatter than most of the female figures' boots that they wear. So she should stand a little bit better than, say, Nebula or Gamora. I guess we'll find out later in this video. Alright, but now, of course, guys, we're going to take a look at how well this figure can pose. Now, my biggest concern, personally, was going to be the head sculpt. Playing around with it a little bit, guys, you could see it actually poses just fine considering how substantial that hair is. They did a pretty good job at making it clear all the way around, especially if you tilt the head forward a little bit before you pose it. It's got a little bit of a rubbing noise there, but that's just the head rubbing against the neck. But overall, I think it poses pretty well, all things considered. Moving forward, you can put it forward a little bit. Of course, going backward, you're very limited because of how stiff the hair is. But overall, I'm actually very surprised at how much you can pose that, considering like the Star Wars Qui-Gon figure was basically non-existent in terms of moving the head around. So this is definitely a big plus. Moving on to the shoulders, guys. Again, we talked about how unsightly they are earlier, but I'm sure they pose pretty well. And yes, they do pose very well. Be careful, you do have some rubber skin here on this side, so be careful when posing it and leaving it in drastic poses over time. You may affect the durability on that. And I imagine it will be similar on both sides. This one seems like a bit tougher to pose. And again, be very careful with that skin, guys, because if you leave it in a pose over time, you can see it kind of folds up on itself. Definitely not going to be something that I do. You can, of course, pose both arms really as forward as you can go until you hit that hair, so that's definitely really good posability there. I know a lot of people are going to ask about ab crunch. Very, very minimal, just because you do have some plastic material running down here on the suit. The elbow bends. A lot of people are saying these are not double jointed arms. They absolutely are. You can see that right there, guys. I remember Sideshow, I think in their video, they mentioned something like a 70 to 75 degree bend, something like that. I think you could really push it a bit more. You just got to play with the material here, but of course it's the same on both sides, guys. So these are not single jointed elbows, which is great to see because for whatever reason, Hot Toys keeps giving us single jointed elbows with a lot of these female figures. Moving down, I think the posability of the hips is going to be very limited by this piece here, so definitely keep that in mind. It's really not the figure itself limiting it, it's this piece here. But again, you do have cloth material here, very bendable at the knees, although that knee is very ugly looking there. You do have plenty of posability in the knees, pending how far you want to go, because you don't want to affect the suit. And then moving down, as I mentioned earlier, guys, you do have a split cut boot design, so of course that's pretty posable. Front and back. Side to side, you're very limited. It really doesn't rock much at all due to the design of the foot. Of course, left and right, it moves perfectly free. So overall, guys, okay posability with this figure overall. But let's take some shots of the figure in a couple poses, and then we'll close out this video. Well, wrapping it up, guys, I think this Scarlet Witch for $275 retail is a pretty solid figure. Yes, there are some shortcomings with the likeness. Yes, there are some issues with posability, but overall, I think this is a fantastic option if you don't have a Wanda/Scarlet Witch in your collection, and I could see you getting pretty good deals on this one in the secondary market. That's all I got for you. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care.